What's going on, Guitar Gear 1? It's been quite a while since we've done anything on the page. If you're still subscribed and you're still paying attention, I gotta thank you for keeping the faith. But today we're doing a review of a pedal made by Sanyo called the Pedal Juice, and it's actually a power supply to other pedals. It's about the size of a Boss Stomp box. It's a fully rechargeable 9-volt battery source, and basically you can use it to power really anything of an acceptable charge level. To be honest, I figured we should do something as realistic as possible. Most of the guitar players that I know, most of the musicians that I know are pretty, they do stuff their way, and I kind of literally took this thing out of the box, didn't really do a whole lot with the manual, and it takes a little figuring out how you're going to use it, and basically this is a way that you can power multiple effects pedals, or a multi-effects unit or a recording unit or anything that takes a 9-volt charge. And this is fully rechargeable over and over and over. There's a color indicator battery light to let you know exactly how much charge is left. The manufacturer says it lasts about 50 hours on a full charge for analog effects units. Now that would be overdrives, analog delays, those kinds of things. If you're looking at digital delays, things like that, it cuts the battery life about in half. This kind of gets further compounded because I don't know that the manufacturer recommends doing this. The unit comes with 2 cables for a 9-volt source, and I'm assuming that's probably what they're suggesting that you use this for. So, per their recommendation, I'm going to say that's what you should do. However, if you do have access to a daisy chain, basically a daisy chain, if you're unfamiliar, is just a long string of connection cables that allows you to power multiple effects all at once. This right away seemed like it was going to be a problem. I was having an issue where I would connect more than 2 analog pedals at one time, and I was having the unit short out. It's real easy to figure out right away whether or not it's working. The indicator light will kill and you lose power. But I have found that if you're gentle with it and you're using the right adapters, I have a lot of older pedals that require connection pieces to actually allow me to get the pedals powered. If you do everything right, it does work. I've gotten 4 or 5 pedals running at once off of one spot on the rechargeable unit, which is pretty cool if you don't want to have to buy a armful of batteries at the store. And I think the most realistic application of this unit is socket space in your wall. Like right now we got I have my Powerball plugged in. I like keeping my other amps plugged in. I got lamps, I got TV, all this kind of stuff. If you start running into a traffic jam at your outlets, something like this can really clean up a lot of the plug situation. So, and especially too if you're at a gig, if you're in a bar, you got your bass player and another guitar player and the PA and everything else, and you're on limited wall space, something like this might really come in handy. One thing you should be aware of though is that, again, this is only rated for 9-volt units that draw less than, I think, a couple thousand milliamps per unit. Digitech's Jamman, I just picked this up a couple weeks ago. Although it is 9 volts, it's drawing 1300 milliamps, and there's probably too high of a demand for this unit to handle it. It shorts it out right away. Another good example, I have the Moger Foger ring modulator. This also does require a dedicated power source. That was always the understanding. I don't know of any other multi-effects unit power source that can do that. So it's not exclusive. It's not just a problem with the Pedal Juice. But basically, we're going to go ahead, set it up, show you what I've been doing with it, and I think everybody could find a unique application. If you have a 9-volt powered multi-track recorder and you had a couple pedals that you wanted to power, you could run the daisy chain off of one of the outputs and you could run your pedals off of another. Save yourself the wall space. If you're a college student, if you're in an apartment, or whatever the situation is, if you got limited space, limited plugs, limited everything, clean it up. So if I was doing it according to the manufacturer's directions, I would say use these included power cables to power 2 effects units at one time, but we're not going to do that. So basically, if you do have a daisy chain, or if you don't, they sell them all over the place at music stores. They're cheap, a couple of bucks. probably worth the investment. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and plug in our daisy chain. Like so. And then just for the demonstration, I'm only going to run a couple of pedals anyway. And again, too, in particular, I'm using this older small stone phaser. And this has this old vintage style power, requirement for the AC adapter. And basically they sell attachments that you can actually plug something like a daisy chain into that, and you don't have to keep going through 9-volt batteries. Same thing with my analog delay that I'm using. I'm using an FX90 today. All of this stuff is available. I got these at Music-O-Round. Again, the cable package is like, I think $10 or something like that. Good investment. And then, like I said too, we're also going to use the Moog, which does require its own dedicated power source, which we do, of course, have plugged into the wall. So, instead of using 1, 2, 3 AC adapters plus the angle plus everything else that I got in the room, I'm down to 2 plugs for my music stuff. Now, once you have everything hooked up, you got your cables all set, there's an on-off button on top of the power juice. Simply switch that on, the whole board's ready to go, no matter how many pedals you got hooked up into it. And again, like I said, I was running, I think, 5 total off of it earlier just to see what it could handle. I did want to find out, for you guys, honestly, what this thing can handle. I haven't found out how long it seriously takes to drain the battery when you're taxing it that hard. But whatever it is, it's got to be better than using a bunch of batteries. And one other thing I wanted to mention, I was thinking about this too, for stuff like the analog delay, the lower the battery level is, the darker the sound becomes. So if you have an AC adapter and you're plugging the analog delay in, it'll always sound brighter than it would if you had it on batteries. And a lot of the vintage recordings that we listen to, people are using battery-powered analog delays, and sometimes those darker sounds that maybe you're not getting are because you aren't using a battery source. Because this is a rechargeable battery source, it is decaying, so you will get some of that darkening that maybe somebody's trying to get after. So just a thought that way too. So we now have the Moog hooked up, analog delay, and a small stone phaser. The Moog has a drive built into it, which is on continuously, which I do have mixed feelings about. To be honest, I sort of wish that was optional, but it isn't. So basically, here's my clean sound. And of course I'm playing a 7th string, which I'm assuming a lot of people probably aren't, but... So we started applying our effects. Real light delay, we stack on our phaser, all pedal juice. No compromise whatsoever on the tone of the effects. Save yourself the plug space, save yourself buying armloads of batteries, rechargeable. If this is something that you've been after, it might be a really good option for you. Thanks for tuning in to Guitar Gear 1. Come back for another one.